All right, I'm going to do a presentation using the free transform, and we're going to use warp, and we're going to use perspective today. And so let me jump out here and find my files. We are using the one called GraphExpo. You might find it in your wide angle shots. Okay, and there's the image that we used for this. It's a typical kind of wide angle shot from up close with a wide angle setting on the zoom lens, and you typically get a kind of a keystone effect, they call it, where the bottom looks wider than the top. We know this is basically a cube, but it has the appearance of looking wider at the bottom. Okay, for this we use 3 images before, and then perspective, and then a warp. So I'm going to press Command J. Turn on my sticky key so you can see the command sign appear whenever I use it. And it's Command J to add the other 2 layers. We'll leave the layer locked. Zoom out. Command minus. I'll grab my crop tool here, default my colors, and add a little border around to the top and to the left, and going this way with a little added space at the bottom, a little space in between each frame, using the rule of thirds guide here to help us get this started. Now we'll end up making another adjustment on that a little later. Okay, I'm going to use my move tool here using the auto select function, and I'm just going to slide this over. We've done this a lot of times now. I'm just going to add the shift key here to keep it in a straight alignment. I'll keep the shift key down, as you can see up here, and I'll just drag this over. Okay, now it should come out pretty even, but we're going to end up making a final adjustment on that anyway, so even if it's not quite perfect, I'll fix it up after we finish. Alright, now you see the before image here locked down with the background. Then I've got the middle image that I'll use with perspective, and we use perspective on this. And up on the third one here, I'll use warp. Okay, so you can see there I've named my layers. And so I'll choose the middle one. You can see the update over here. I've got the middle one selected, the one that yields perspective. And we're going to be using the free transform tool that's hidden away under Edit, Free Transform. Notice the shortcut there, Command T. When you select that with Free Transform, you'll notice that the transform corners come up here like this. It's ready to scale and flip and do all kinds of things to it. What I want to use for it is under a right click. I want to use perspective. Now, the way perspective works is you just grab a corner here and you drag it across, and it adds the same amount of perspective adjust on the opposite side. And you can see how that's working. I'll zoom in just a little bit there. Okay, you end up with these odd looking shapes here. I'm going to go ahead and commit to that because that looks pretty good. What I'm going for here is a straight wall. I want this wall to look pretty straight. Now it has some kind of unexpected consequences. The guys here now look a little skinny, as does this guy. Looks a little skinny too. So, I mean, it's not perfect, but it definitely took out some of the perspective there. I may have taken out just a little bit more than I meant to. Actually, if you'll turn on your rulers, Command R, you can bring a guide in here and test to see just really how straight you've got it. And it's actually a little better than I thought. Okay, so I'm just going to undo that. Put my guide back away. I'll turn my rulers back off, Command R. Okay, so that's probably about right. Now you could take this and you could select it and make other adjustments too that might help a little bit. If you made it a little smaller this way, it might help it a little bit too. But then we've got an image in the middle that's smaller than the others. And so I'll probably just leave that where it was. All right. So no transformation on that one. All right. Now, I've got, I'm going to turn off these show transform controls up here for my move tool, just to get rid of the box. And you still need to make some alterations here. It just looks funny. I'm going to use my rectangular marquee tool, and I'm going to start here in the white area between the two images. I'm just drag down. I'm going to try to match it right down here at the bottom. You can see I've tried to get it really close to the corner of that. Essentially what I'm going to do is just shave off this part of it. I'll just tap the delete key and it'll go away. Now I can deselect. I do the same thing over here. I'm just going to click in the white, drag a box, trying to keep all the pixels I can. I'll just press delete and I'll have the picture back to a rectangle, which looks a little bit better. Now I can adjust this and bring it back over so that the spacing is a little more even between the pictures. And I'll grab this one and bring it back over. But that's going to necessitate that I also change my crop a little bit. So I'm just going to bring this back in like this. Okay, I'll double click to add that commit. Alright, now I'll go back to my move tool. I want to make sure I've got this image selected next, the one that we called warp. We'll use the free transform again. This time let's use the shortcut. It's Command T. With Command T you'll see that the transform box comes up. It's ready to commit to whatever you decide to do to it. What I want to do to it this time is I want to warp that image. And so I'm going to just zoom in a little bit closer on that so we can see a little better. Press a right click. Well, this is with free transform turned on, Command T. Go to warp. Now for this I can actually move the insides of this picture without moving the edges. And you'll see what I mean here. I'm just going to grab right on this intersection right here. And that's what I recommend. If you stay on the lines, you don't move the outside edge so much. So watch. I'll just click here and drag this in. And I'll click right here. Now this one you have to be careful because you can make the box no longer a rectangle. Just keep it level. By the way, the shift key doesn't help here. Okay, you can see I've kind of maybe overdid it just a little bit that way, so I can bring that back. You can bring this back, stretch it back this way. Okay, trying to keep it level. Maybe bring this back over this way just a bit. My goal here again is to get a nice straight line here, and I'm getting there. I just need to maybe straighten up just a little bit right there. That's better. Okay, just be careful with these. Always maintain their true horizontal. Again, the shift key, which you think would help there, doesn't really help, so you have to be careful. You also have to be careful that this line remains vertical. It looks like I've moved it just a little bit. Let's see here. I think maybe that's okay. Alright. You can even fix the other side of it with warp. It's kind of a very flexible tool. Again, if you keep to the intersections, those are the safest places to move it. And then also down here, just again, you have to be sure that you don't move it off the horizontal or you'll change the shape of the picture. And people don't like to look at pictures that aren't rectangular. I'm not sure exactly how that works, the psychology of that, but it happens to be pretty true. People just don't like to see odd shaped pictures unless they're interesting shapes. Maybe if it was a butterfly shape or something. Okay, so here we go. We've got, that looks a little better. I'll commit to that. My grid lines move away. You can see I've got maybe a little bit of an S-curve kind of thing going in here that might need to be fixed. But the true test will be to put up my rulers, Command R. I'll bring a guide in here and just see how straight that is. And it's pretty good. I might try to do a little bit better. I'm going to click on it again, press Command T, right click and warp. And I'll see if I can't get this line up here to line a little bit closer. Okay, so I'm just bringing that over, and you can see now it lines up very nicely with the top there. I might be able to do a little bit here without moving my bottom too much. Okay, I'm kind of trying to stay on the lines here. That looks a little better. Okay, and that looks pretty straight. You can click anywhere. You can click here, but you see how it moves the edge? If you stay on the intersections, the edges kind of stay put. Now you can even go too far with them, of course, but You can see the warp does some crazy stuff, just really distorts and stuff. The good use for it, I think, is to make the picture look better, of course. And so I'm going to see if I can just kind of straighten up the perspective here, and I'll just bring that back down to the level. It's usually the vertical, by the way, that not so much the horizontal that we care about. But there you go. That looks a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to commit to that. By the way, the double click doesn't work here for some reason. Not sure why. Click there and it goes away. You can turn off your rulers. Command R. You can actually turn off the grid. Press Command apostrophe. Nope, sorry, Command semicolon. Command semicolon, and the grid goes away too. I think that's actually the same command as for Illustrator. Now you can see that looks a lot better. This actually looks a little better than this, but we lost a lot of it. Okay, so the warp working a little better than the perspective. Okay, you'll want to add some type. So I'll take my type tool, and I just click down here. And as soon as I click there, I check up here just to see what my color is for my type. It looks like it's going to be black. Okay, and this is my original image. You can give it a little bit more detail if you want. Just to help people understand what it is that you're trying to remove. Click commit here, and you can go back to the type tool, or just click here. This is corrected with free transform perspective. Yeah, I went a little bit long, but we'll see if we can fix that. Okay, and I'll commit there. Now I'm going to have the same thing typed over here, but it's going to say corrected with free transform warp. So instead of typing that all over again, I'll press the Option key and drag this over. I'll just use my Shift key to keep it in a straight line, and my Option will provide the copy. Okay, so it's Option key, drag, and then Shift. Okay, in that order works the best. Okay, and that's actually not too bad. It's a little bit big. If you need to resize your type, you can triple click. That was 3 or 4 clicks maybe, and then change the size a little bit. Maybe go, I don't want to go down too much, maybe just like 33. Okay, and type tool. Let's see how many clicks it is. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 clicks. I'll make this 33. I think I made it 3. Not 32, 33. Not 333. Make it 33. Okay, and I'll commit to that. Then with my type tool, it's click to place the cursor, then 3 clicks to select the whole line. Okay. All right. And that looks a little better. The type's not so big. I'm going to make sure that it's all lined up correctly. I'm going to click on it, and with my Shift key, I'll click the other 2 layers. I'll just use the Align at top. And you maybe saw that move just a little bit, so it did help to do that. You could center the type, center the type, center the type, or make it flush left, flush left, flush left. Mostly it's going to be done with just by eyeballing it in here. If it's not perfect, you can select the image and the type and use the Align Left. Click, Shift, click, Align Left. It's not really moving much. This one doesn't work that way because the background layer is locked. Plus, it has all this white on it, so you can't really use the Align Left for this first one. Remember, the white is being provided by that image. Okay, that looks pretty good. Just save, and we'll call this one. What do we call this one? I think we just call this one perspective.psd. Okay, so you want to do a save as here, or a save. Should have saved it earlier, but here we go. I'll take it back out to the 142. Let's do it this way just to make sure I put it in the right folder. 142, folder 1. I don't want to call it Graph Expo. I'll call it perspective. All right, that's how we did that particular part of the assignment.